I'm just waiting. I was just waiting for the straight arm salute there before you said that, Pete.
We're live.
Only Elon Musk does them. I don't do that.
We're live.
Right, folks. A very good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, and welcome to Thursday night's episode of Mauls, Balls, and All, where we discuss all the current stories, topics, subject matter that pop up during the week in the group and on other media spheres throughout Facebook and Instagram and elsewhere. Joining me this evening is Dave Sheedy, we have Mike Reedy, and we have Peter Martin in the house. Joining us later, hopefully if they can, is Dara Weston and Danny Brosnan, who is
the birthday boy.
Dara Weston's the birthday boy, yes. And Danny Brosnan, who is, of course, the host of Monday Night Show, The Breakdown. Danny might be joining us. We shall wait and see. And also on Dara. Gentlemen, how are we? Are we all well in ourselves? Are we well?
All great.
Not so bad at all.
Yeah.
Thanks,
all right.
buddy.
Oh, by the way, Dave, I'll ask you first. I just saw this today. Netflix are not renewing their Six Nations Full Contact. So season 2, which is premiering, whatever you call it, on the 29th of January, that's going to be the last one because apparently, globally, the program didn't hit their top 10 anywhere. That's
expectations.
Says a lot, doesn't it?
Yeah, I was looking at some of the comments under the Good Bad the Rugby page. People have mixed reviews. Some people loved it. Some people thought it didn't show enough rugby. You've got to kind of. I kind of felt myself when I watched it. They were trying so hard to kind of get into the emotion side of things, and for me, all insight into rugby players is good. So like any of those interviews or documentaries, I love them all regardless. Even if I wouldn't be a massive fan, I definitely watch them just to see what players are saying, what makes them tick, how the tactics work, all that backroom stuff. I saw people saying it's because the Welsh wouldn't let them in for the after.
Oh, there was that, yeah.
So I look.
Did you enjoy it yourself, Dave?
I thought it could have been a lot better. Personally, when I first saw it, I thought it could have been a lot better. But it was still, I do love the insight and the interviews. But I thought they were trying their little over emotional angle too much, which is the way everything's going nowadays. Really,
I thought it was okay. I'd give it a 6 out of 10, but however.
Yeah,
Mike. Before I come to you, hello to Gregor. How are you, Gregor? Joe Lyons, Megan Augusta. How are you, Megan? How are you? Catherine Keegan. Evening, gents, evening all. How are you, Catherine? How are you? Good to have you all with us. Mike Reedy, did you see that particular program, Six Nations Full Contact?
God, but it's been a while ago now since I saw it, so I do remember that. I think Porter was our representative on it, wasn't he? And
he was, yeah.
I think they had. Well, I can't remember. Was it Finn Russell for Scotland and
Berkey loved that, didn't he?
Yeah, they had some Welsh. They had some Welsh boy. I can't even remember who the fuck. What was it? That
bigger, smaller.
Was it Reece Zammit? No, wasn't him.
No, I think it was Dan
bigger as well. They're bigger as well, Mike.
It was. It was okay. It was okay. I'll tell you, a couple of people didn't come across very well, if I remember correctly. The Italian manager, I thought, was poor, and I think. It probably cost him his fucking job, if I'm honest, because he had no interest whatsoever in the team. It was all about him, and that's never a good thing. I thought Andy
very Trump-esque, really, Mike, isn't it?
Well,
all about him.
Yeah. Bit of
a May Feiner, as they say.
Well, exactly.
There's plenty of
them. Martin, are you surprised that Six Nations Full Contact, this is going to be the last one, and it didn't hit Netflix top 10 globally anywhere?
Well, I suppose I'm not surprised. There was an awful lot of preview about when the first edition that we've all seen, the first one came out, and I think there was an awful lot almost too much information was leaked. That's my view, because when I watched it, it's like, It was a bit. It was a touch underwhelming, I think. If you hadn't a baldy, and I mean hadn't a baldy, and you're just like, as Dave said, if you're interested in that kind of thing, you sit there and watch it. A bit like, what's the one, the Formula 1 one, and any of those, like if you're interested in that kind of thing, if you have an interest in the insight of the thinking and the preparation, I'd say you get something out of it. The mental side, it depends on how you compartmentalize it. Like if you're to compare it with the South African one, what's it called again? Something the Sun.
Chasing
the Sun. Chasing the Sun.
Yeah.
I've seen both. I've seen both Chasing the Sun. Absolutely brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Now, obviously, it's biased and the whole lot, but like there's a huge amount of the mindset and the emotion behind where the South Africans were, why it meant, all the whys are answered in that. Yeah. It's six, full contact is a little bit like it's you're flashing from one, team to another. Maybe if they did it up over, a bit like make 6 episodes, 6 nations or something like that, and just basically the major viewpoint from Ireland camp, then the Italy camp, then the Welsh camp, through the whole lot. Something like that, rather than just basically 30 seconds, 30 seconds, 30 seconds, 30 seconds. It's just...
If they had an episode on each country, it'd be much better.
A bit more, and kind of like from start to finish in each, and then you can, because they do that whole thing, the viewpoint from while the event, everything's happening, and like the same clips and so what. You could pick a number of instances through the number of games. Like it could be, I don't know, a particular try being scored, or the turning point in matches, and like you could basically say like the turning point for argument's sake. Like last year, like the drop goal in the Ireland-England game. Like if you were to do an episode, that would be the piece from the English side, and then it'd be the same piece of action, but from the Irish side. Just as an example, that's the kind of stuff they could have did that out. It might have turned out a little bit different, but look, they did what they did. They had all the money behind them. They went what they went with, and look, it's a pile of shit. So seemingly, so there you go.
Yeah, but what was it? Was it made just to curtail the American market? Seemed that way.
I don't know. What was it? Broadcast in America?
No, but just because Netflix is obviously American predominantly, so was it kind
of? Was it shown in America?
It was. Yeah. Well, I saw it in Brazil. So when it first came out, because I was over there at the time, so I watched the whole thing in Brazil. I binge watched it. So I assume.
I've no idea. Maybe so. Gregor Galway says Palm is this season's one for Ireland. Okay. Was not aware of that. Mike Looms met Dan this week. Glad his ACL is now okay. I suppose that's Dan Sheehan. Good man, Mike. Mike Looms boost for Leinster and Ireland, yes. Megan, I found the first season showed so much about France and not much about others. Just my opinion there. That's fair enough, Megan. That's what all we ask for is everyone's opinion. Okay, gentlemen. Peter Martin. Back to the more important issues. This bloody thing has raised its head again this week, which we have discussed ad nauseum at this stage. Who's this? Danny Brosnan. Oh, here he is. Hold on. Danny Brosnan, nice view of your crotch there. Good man. How are you? Were you just out for a run or something?
Is the weather wild down there in Kerry, or is it?
What are you doing?
He's just finishing time of hooves and horns.
Yeah, all right. Anyway, okay, welcome, Danny. I was just in the middle of asking there our first particular question. We just previously spoke about the Netflix show being cancelled and all that, but we won't go back into that. So, Peter Martin, this issue of the red card, we've spoken here, and you indeed were part of those debates, I think probably all of them, about this bloody red card, this 20-minute red card. It has now raised its stupid, ugly head again, albeit in a different guise. There is now apparently going to be 2 versions of the red card. Where they fucking stop with this, I don't know. Okay, I'll read briefly. There will be a variation of the 20-minute red card, okay, that empowers referees to still award a full and permanent red card for deliberate and dangerous acts of foul play. But they can issue a temporary red card if the offence is deemed dangerous or deliberate. Technical or technical or deliberate is a temporary red card. Now, the referees have enough to be fucking doing on the pitch with this new edition. So you've 2 versions of the bloody temporary red card, which shouldn't be in existence anyway, in my view. I think a lot of people's view, judging by the reaction of it. Peter, 2 red cards, 1 temporary, 1 permanent. What the hell? I can't see this going right.
Well, can I just say that your difficulty in explaining it, that basically sums it up, I think.
Yes.
And, you're going to have referees. I just feel sorry for them now at this stage. Like, did they get a say in a lot of what's happening at all? Did they honestly, basically, are they allowed to put their hand up and it's told, no, put your hand down? That's, surely they get a say in saying, look, there's some good referees out there. Your Luke Pierce's, your Nika and Moshekali, what's his name? The Italian Rosardi, is that the name? The Italian referee. There's a couple of them. Holly Davidson.
Yeah.
They're all good. They're all good people. Some of them are exceptional, and then you've got some who you wouldn't let them referee. Kids fighting over toys in a kindergarten. But the good and the great, put them together and say, right, form some sort of a group, a lobby group to say, look, this is our view on this. Can you make my job a lot easier? And if you make the referee's job a lot easier, everything flows. Like, there's so many, these are stupid variations. Like, if it can't be refereed, I think at AIL level, it shouldn't be refereed at international. Like, let's keep the game simple. It's absolute bullshit for versions of red cards. And like, tell me this, because this is news to me. I have my head stuck in work all day. Is like, what versions are they using? Are they going to trial one version for the first half of the Six Nations and the second version for the second? What in the name of God is going on? Or is it going to be left up to the referee individual? Well, I'm going to take this version of the red card.
If it's reckless or negligent, that's a full red card. If it's deliberate or technical, that's a 20-minute red card.
So if it's deliberate here you go. If it's deliberate and it's foul play, what is it? Because going by what you've just said, I've taken 2 criteria from the 2 different versions and put them together.
I'm reading what the press release was. This is it. Reckless negligent, full red. Deliberate, technical, 20-minute. Temporary.
So what's a yellow?
The yellow is still in play. The yellow is still in play. You can still get 2 yellows and get a red. That's still in play.
But wasn't a yellow kind of like that technical red,
Oh, Jesus. I don't fucking know, lads. Yeah. I'm just reading off what the press release was.
This is what Peter's talking about. If we haven't got a clue, if it's not clear for us.
Yeah. And we have a genuine interest in the game. So trying to roll the game, you introduce somebody who hasn't a baldy and say, guess what? Just watch this now, because do you know what we've done this year? The powers be decided have introduced two versions of a red card, and you try to explain to them, and they get up and walk off and say, "Sod this! I'm not watching this game. This seems like
exactly."
So it's sorry,
go on, Pete.
Well, no, nothing else. There's no point saying nothing more about it. It's just absolutely fucking horrible.
All right, Mike Reedy. This is just it's like a parody at this stage. It's beyond belief what they're doing.
The one thing I will say is better than what the earlier proposal was, is the fact that there is a red card that fucking says you go off and nobody else comes back on. I think that's a proper rule. And I think that's designed because there was such an outcry for certain things like serious foul play. Somebody going out to fucking harm somebody on a pitch, and they were basically being given a license to do that if there was no such thing as a red card. So I think they've been put under pressure to upgrade this so-called fucking yellow-red card, whatever it's called. That's nonsense. That fucking thing should be. There's a red card for serious foul play, and the game was okay. It was fucking ticking along nicely. Apart from this, all started because of the Kiwi getting sent off in the World Cup final.
Sam Kane.
Fucking started off this, man, and it's grown arms and legs, and the Saffas have gotten bored, even though they were the ones that benefited from him being sent off. And if they sneeze down there, by the way, they fucking people look up, the authorities look up and seem to fucking take note, and I don't know, it's like you've all said, like the poor referees, whether they're fucking coming or going, it's already too difficult for them. I mean, Luke Pierce came out and said it just recently.
Yeah,
he said that like he doesn't know where like there's too much too many technicalities now to deal with, and who's ultimately going to be making the decision as to whether it's like when the referee makes a decision, can he still say that's a fucking red card, you're off, nobody else is coming back on, or is he
going to say was that reckless and negligent, or was it deliberate and technical?
Or is it bunker situation again, like what Peter?
I would say, sorry, can I just jump in there? I would say deliberate and technical is definitely going to be something that pops up, because when it's deliberate and technical, you're doing something within full knowledge of the laws. If you get me, you're basically doing something very specific. Technical, you're looking at basically, well, a technical offence would be what? Boring in at the scrum.
Yeah, what your man O'Bano did, the front row, O'Bano got a yellow card against Leinster. What he did when he wasn't driving.
Two yellows still going to constitute a red, though, aren't they? They're not going to.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well,
so that would have helped him. But look at, if you get the situations like the Peter O'Mahony one and the Craig Casey one against Stade Francais. Like, would they be deemed now as the yellow red, or would they be full on?
Look,
one on Casey has to be a red all day long.
Both of them have to be, to tell you the truth, because that's a wipeout, like with a swinging arm. You know, that the likes of that cannot be allowed in the game, because you're given license to take out people. Look at someone like Sam Prendergast. You're basically giving license to someone to fucking smash him. By the way, a big guy, and there will come a situation, because he's a light bit of a lad, and he probably will build up over time. But right now, you could have a player sent out to fucking if he has a major influence in the game. I know that the much maligned Finn Russell, you don't like him, but there are teams that would want to take him off game, because the difference between when he is playing and when he's not playing for Scotland is fucking massive.
Okay.
Isn't that every team's game plan? Get at the 10.
Yeah, but laws of the game
to a certain degree.
If he's any good, Dave.
Yeah, but
don't be under any illusions, Dave. Billy Burns won't be targeted.
I know that.
Anyway, Dave, before I ask you, just a couple of comments there. Gregor Galway, don't get me started. Read the 20-minute red card thing. Megan Augusta, Jesus, jump scare. Okay, Megan Augusta, let me see. This is absolutely ridiculous. If it's a red card, you're off. If it's a yellow, 10 minutes in the bin. Simple as. I'm sick to death of all these bleeding new laws. If someone is given red card, the action they made would be still high level of danger, whether it's temporary or permanent card, like WTF. Yes, completely agree, Megan. Yes, and so does Gregor Galway. Okay, Dave Sheedy, the two versions of the red card is just getting ridiculous at this stage, Dave.
It sounds like they're going for like what the GA has with the black card. They want another kind of a third one. I think we've all given this enough lip service, and I would highly recommend everyone to watch the Good, Bad and the Rugby with Luke Pearce, because they asked him straight out, "Are we making this game too complicated?" And he didn't even hesitate. Yeah, straight in.
Yeah.
You know, like, and as he said in that interview as well, how are we supposed to attract people to this game, which is what they're all talking like they want to do. We want to attract people to the game, blah, 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 when they keep making it more and more complicated. Like, is there a board that's coming out with this, like Alan Rowland, Nigel Owens, Chris White? Are these people being consulted when they come up with these harebrained ideas? Because with international rugby, it seems like whatever the Kiwis want, they get. With European rugby, whatever the French and English want, they get. Because all these changes are coming from big teams whinging. That's what it is. It's big teams whinging. Like, I'm sick to death of it. Like Luke Pearce said, like, you're changing the rules. Like the rules seem to be different for every competition now. URC has one, Europe has another, International has another, Six Nations has another, Southern Hemisphere has another. Like, just, lads have said, you have to feel sorry for the refs. Like, I mean, you're reffing one set of rules this weekend. Next weekend, you're off to an international, you're assessing another set of rules. It's bullshit, man. Just let's have one simple set of rules across the board. Red card's a red card, yellow card's a yellow card. End of story. No need for 20-minute this. I don't give a fuck what they did in Super Rugby. Fair play to them. We have used these rules for decades and nothing. It's only the last 20 years, man. Like, they've just at least wait to the end of the season. Mid-season, as Luke Pearce said, it's insanity for me trying to learn these rules mid-season and going from competition to competition. It's like what we were saying, that we've all kind of lost a bit of desire for the European Cup now because of all the tinkering. It's doing that now to rugby on a larger scale. As Peter said, Joe Soap comes in, doesn't have a clue about rugby. Why is that a penalty? And why is he going off there? And why that? And then, the fan trying to explain it half the time now is just going to go, I don't know.
Yeah.
They changed the rules a few weeks ago.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. And for a game that has, I think last time I checked, it's 22 or 24 laws, it's probably one of the most complicated games on the fucking planet.
It's all the subsections, Peter.
So it is, yeah.
It's like the Constitution at this stage,
Yeah,
it's
true.
ridiculous,
Okay.
man. Subsection after
Okay,
subsection.
let's bring in our pal from the Monday Night Show, Danny Brosnan. Your thoughts on the two versions of the red card?
They have taken something simple and overcomplicated it so much for everyone involved.
Right, I'm going to
referees, players, supporters, all that sort of thing. Literally, what you want, like they said there, it's a case of you make the law simple enough to understand for everyone involved. That way, if ref comes up to a situation, he reviews it. High degree of danger, no mitigation, red card. The players off. Team's down to 14 players. Off to go. It's probably the dumbest thing I've heard. Literally the dumbest fucking thing I've heard. For bringing in the fucking extra red card. Why? I said, you keep the game simple to attract people for people to play it. It's fucking stupid, that's all it is. Fucking stupid.
All right. I think you're echoing a lot of people's sentiments there, Danny, on that. Mike Sheedy, okay, thanks, Danny. Thanks, lads. Mike Sheedy, these 20-minute red cards are a joke to destroy rugby rules. Remember what did work in old rugby rules, red cards you sent off. Yes, well, this is it. And I was reading, gentlemen, I don't know what you might think of this. One it was on one prominent site. It was so prominent I can't remember what site it was. But they were basically saying that in 20 years' time, the game of rugby won't exist the way we know it.
It'll be league.
That's right.
Yeah, that's fucking less time than that, Peter, by the way.
Yeah, that rate's going, yeah.
Yeah, I kind of just jumped out of you when
we're
you saw
gonna,
that.
lads,
Okay.
We're going to be back here in 3 weeks, 4 weeks' time, talking about an incident due to these fucking rules where someone got wrongly pinned for something, and it could be Scotland going bananas, England, it could be us, could be the Italians. It's going to cause havoc and ruin the enjoyment that we have and the anticipation for this Six Nations.
It'll create a talking point for all the wrong reasons.
Exactly.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. Talk about talking points, gentlemen. Dave Sheedy, I'll come to you first on this. Next year, the 2026 Six Nations Championship, it has been spoken about that they are moving it from a 7-week competition to a 6-week competition. So instead of 2 weeks rest, there's only 1 week rest. And I read you a very interesting paragraph, and this shows the power, and this shows where it's all coming from. In the release, one particular paragraph just speaks volumes. It says, a revamped fixture schedule with more evening kickoffs is on the table with the Six Nations prepared to adapt to the preference of the broadcasters. There you are. Now, Dave Sheedy, what do you think of all that?
I'm in favour of it being a little shorter, if I'm honest, because I think it does get dragged on. Like you're all, rugby, and then you're like, what's happening next weekend? Shit, the week's break, So from a fan perspective, I'm glad it's shorter. From a player perspective, I'm sure they're furious. But from the top brass perspective, I presume giving that authority to the TV places gets them more money. I would only assume.
Yeah, it would do. Yeah, but I just think being dictated to by the broadcasters, it's a win and lose situation. It's obviously a win-win for the monetary side of things.
Yeah, well, I got news for you. It is money that's dictating, because there was talk.
No, I know that.
Yeah, but here's an example. That Munster All Blacks game was supposed to be in Páirc Uí Chaoimh. And the sponsor, and I know this firsthand from a mate of my father's who works in Páirc Uí Chaoimh, Dad told me that a sponsor said they'd pull out if it wasn't played in Thomond, even though you get more tickets and more people into Páirc Uí Chaoimh. So it's all sport now. It's dictated by the TV and the money and this, that, and the other, the Premiership. It's all the same. So we're not really to be surprised, are we?
No, true. Okay, Pete, before I come to you, Brian Core, do you think these laws are being overly analysed simply because of technology? Years ago, no replays, just respect the ref. Now it's really easy to see mistakes and lose the respect. That's a good point Brian makes. Yeah, good point. Pete, reducing the Six Nations next year from 7 weeks to 6 weeks to go along with the... I know the importance of money to the game, but it's been dictated by the broadcasters. So basically, they're just removing a week's rest during the tournament. Any thoughts on that, Pete?
Well, I think it's just basically going the way like the Premier League went back in the early 90s when the TV rights went up. The TV dictated that there was going to be midweek games. Like, it's all about entertainment and the fans. It's all about ratings. It's all about, viewing and it's all about money. Like, so a week less, look, I would do prefer, as someone said, having the Super Saturday where you've got your 12 o'clock or 1 o'clock kickoff, you've a 3 o'clock kickoff, or you've 5 o'clock kickoff, or else you've got the 3, 5, and 8 o'clock kickoff. Usually, France are playing in the evening times, even though we played ourselves. Look, I'm sure what they'll do is, rather than having 3 games on the one day, they'll have 2, and they'll just basically stretch it over, the Saturday and the Sunday. Look, it's 1 week. I don't think it makes a huge difference. It's not that big. They've dropped 1 week's break, so instead of 2 weeks, because after the second round, usually just 2 weeks. Yeah. So it'll be 1 week. It'll make a difference. What I would say is it might make a difference to the weaker nations, because if they are missing players through to injury, like, it's one less week they've got to get their better players back, we'll say, and they're stuck with their players who are not of the same standard, so to speak. I don't think, honestly, it'll make that big a difference to the Frances, Irelands, and Englands. I think it might make a difference to every other nation, but not the bigger 3 in the competition. That's just my view.
Okay. All right. Thanks, Dave. Thanks, Pete. Danny Brosnan, any thoughts on reducing the playing time for the Six Nations from 7 to 6 weeks?
Actually, the women's Six Nations have been doing that now, I think, for the last 2 or 3 seasons, where they've been running over 6 weeks. Like, the men's you've got 2 rounds, break, round 3, break, then 4 and 5. The women's one, it's 1 and 2 rounds, break, then you get the last 3 rounds. It's actually been good, because and let's count this on the group as well. If you have a bit of momentum, you want to keep that momentum going as long as you can in international rugby. So if you have a 2-week break period, that's going to affect teams and how you kind of get a bit of momentum, then you have a week's break, and then you're trying to get that momentum back. That break should keep momentum going. It can make a difference that way. Besides, I think it makes it a little bit more entertaining in a way, the way they wrap it up quicker and stuff like that. Because I think that's part of why the Women's Six Nations has grown, is that that shorter time period for us. So it might end up benefiting the men's game as well, to a certain extent. I know some people will be complaining about 2 weeks break versus 1 week break, but it's going to have its advantages, it's going to have its benefits, and I think the shorter amount of time it's played over will benefit us in the long run. So I'm, to be honest, down for it.
Okay, fair enough. Thanks, Danny. Mike Reedy, your thoughts on this?
Well, basically what all the other lads have said, but I'm not sure they're taking player welfare into consideration, because, I mean, is that not what the 2 separate week breaks are designed to do? Or are they to get teams to get players back if they have been injured or whatever? I don't know. Only time will tell whether it's. I mean, from a viewing perspective, I'd watch it every week. I'd be happy if it was played over 5 weeks. I'd be okay with that. But I'm afraid the players might have something to say about. Oh, they might. Yeah,
well, that's true. Yeah.
And Peter Martin just said, it's going to be more beneficial to teams with stronger squads. I mean, the teams with slightly weaker squads might struggle to field a strong team every week or so. But only time will tell whether it's successful. But the fact is, though, that it is designed for television, for their benefit more. But it's not
money, Mike. It's all about the money. All about the money.
Absolutely, yeah. And you know what? The money is an important factor in the game. We have to realize that now, because it's a professional sport, and somebody has to pay the Six Nations is a massive money spinner.
Of course it is, yeah. Dara Weston, welcome, and a belated happy birthday to you.
Happy birthday to you.
Dave is there. By the way,
Sinatra.
Dara. No, he's eating the cake he jumped out of for you.
There, that's it. Yeah. Come here, Dara. Before you came on,
nightmares, Pete.
before you came on, Dara, just briefly,
Yes.
before I asked you about the Six Nations, we were discussing the 2 versions of the 20-minute red card. I don't know if you're aware of this. Just briefly give us your thoughts on that. Reckless and negligent foul, it's a full red card. Deliberate and technical, it's a 20-minute red card. Brief thoughts on that.
Yeah, I mean the technical, 2 yellows and it becomes a red. I mean, it's people would say, oh yeah, but it wasn't an instant red, so it must have been soft. But I'm sorry, you committed 2 fouls that got caught by the ref. You were penalised twice, and so that results in a red. Look, I've said for ages, on the one hand, they're preaching player safety and all this, and then they're coming out with 20-minute red cards, and they're mitigating bans and sending lads to tackle school where Owen Farrell can teach them how to tackle and stuff. It's ridiculous. If they want people, there's international players who've come out and said they wouldn't let their kids play rugby. And we had Drickmas 2 days ago. And, we need the return of the son of Bod in a couple of years' time. So, we can't risk, him not letting the kids play rugby. So, on that, anyway, I think
the Six Nations, Sarah.
The Six Nations, I don't know where they're going to take the week out of the Six Nations. Are they going to start it a week later, or are they going to finish it? Because I've always loved when there's a finisher around Paddy's Day. Always, it's always great back. Saves you having to watch the parade on the telly or shite like that. Look, I mean, it's going to take away some of the recuperation time, which obviously, for us, specifically front row, things like that, you need, you're talking 5 high intensity matches in the space of 7 weeks. So, you do need, even lads like Cian Healy, who might only be coming on for 20 minutes, they need their recovery, they need all that. What I'm more concerned about is if they start, the Super Saturday things, it's going to be awkward for people trying to say, I'm not available for the whole day because I'm watching rugby for the whole day every week for 4 or 5 weeks. You can get away with it one weekend. What I'm more concerned about is the Friday night matches, because we saw during the autumn internationals that it actually drives away fans who aren't Dublin based, because you have to commute up. Then, the matches may be over at 10 o'clock. You're trying to drive home. It might be 1 o'clock before you get back to Limerick. you know, or you have the expense of having to stay in a hotel or something, which means you can't you know, it makes it a lot harder to bring kids with you to the matches, things like that. So
that's an expensive fucking night out if you're staying in a hotel over 6 days this weekend.
Yeah, that's it.
Can I just add? There's less recovery time, like, you know, for getting the beer in as well. Like, you know, if you're trying to access in 1 or 2 weekends, it's like, shit, Jesus, next weekend as well. How am I going to explain this? You know, the budget. The beer fridge has to be replenished again.
Emergency run, Jesus Christ. Okay, gentlemen, Dave, I'm just going to come to you. We fly through these, and it's simply, now I'm sure we'll talk about them again, but because we found out last weekend, the round of 16 in the Heineken Cup, right? We just do the first 4 and then the last 4 towards the end before we talk about the URC games. Just a quick, pure pig iron, just shoot through them. The first 4 games that I have here, we've Northampton against Claremont. Who's winning that?
Hopefully Claremont.
Right. Toulon against Saracens.
Toulon.
Okay. Leinster are at home to Harlequins.
Harlequins.
I'll ask you all. Castor are playing Benetton.
I don't see Castor at home, aren't they?
Yeah.
Jeez, man. After Benton put it up to La Rochelle, there's no reason why they couldn't put it up to Cast as well. But I think that'd be a very close game. Very close.
Should be a good game, yeah. All right. Okay, Peter Martin, quickly. Northampton Saints v Claremont.
Ooh, I'd say somehow Claremont might do that one.
Okay. Toulon against Saracens.
Toulon.
Okay. Leinster at home in Croke Park to Harlequins.
Oh, Leinster.
Okay. And Castor against Benetton. I think that's going to be a good game.
I think that'll be a very good game because Castor, they're saying goodbye to Jeremy Davidson.
That's right.
He has taken a step back. His understudy, Saturni, I can't think of his first name, is taken over. It's a real. Okay. It seems to be a very well run club, Castor, insofar as the Fab Stadium. It's just interesting. Like there's a succession thing there happening with Davidson, and Davidson wants to get back to Ireland.
Yeah,
but he feels he wants to prove his himself abroad before he feels he can come back.
Yeah. So who do you think is going to win? Who do you think is going to win between those two?
Well, you'd have to give it to the home team, I think.
Castor. Okay. Thanks, Pete. Thanks, Dave. Danny.
Yep.
Northampton against Claremont.
Oh, Claremont.
Okay. Toulon against Saracens.
Toulouse.
Leinster Rugby at home to Harlequins.
Leinster.
Okay, and finally Castor against Benetton.
Benton.
Okay, Mike, to you. Northampton against Claremont.
I actually think Northampton will beat them.
Good man. Toulon versus Saracens.
Toulon.
Okay, Leinster against Harlequins.
Leinster.
Okay, and Castor against Benetton.
This is going to be a tasty game. You'd have to favour them, but Benetton. I'm going to go for Benetton. Bloody hell, I'm going to
Benetton.
go for it.
Okay, all right, Dara, and lastly, Dara, to you before we move on. Northampton, the Saints against Claremont.
I would say Claremont might edge that.
Okay, Toulon against Saracens.
I think Toulon would be too strong for them.
Okay, Leinster at home to Harlequins.
Leinster.
Okay, and Castor against Benetton.
I'd love to say Benetton, but I think they've had too many performances. You know, the way it's kind of not they've had too many good performances, but I hate to sound pessimistic, but I think they're due a bit of a hiding. They've had nearly too good a season so far, so I think unfortunately they could come unstuck against Castor.
Okay. All right. Thank you, gentlemen. Okay,
lads,
next.
You better not lose that game in Croke Park, I swear to God. They'll be ringing the Falls Road, sending people down if you do.
Jeez. Could you imagine? Okay. Two topics. These two topics are concerning Leinster Rugby. They just so happen to be in the news. Dave Sheedy. Leinster Rugby put a post up on their own page, the Leinster Rugby page on Facebook, with simply a picture of Ross Byrne with earning his 50th cap. And for reasons that I didn't see myself, but apparently the comments got so bad at one stage that for the first time since 2016, the communications director of Leinster Rugby, Marcus O'Buchala, had to turn off comments on that particular post because apparently they were nasty, they were whatever. What I don't know what's, and apparently they were Leinster supporters that were saying this about Ross Byrne. Yeah, so we can leave out this blaming the Munster people. These were Leinster fans having a go at Ross Byrne. What the hell is going on there?
Well, as a Munster fan who enjoys the odd bit of trolling, I wouldn't go on a Ross Byrne post to slag him. And I think he's a fine 10. I think he's a great 10 to see out a game. I think he's been blackguarded by Leinster. By in one sense he's been given a reach around, and then Sam Prendergast came, and then Frawley and him have taken a back seat. Like we had this discussion.
You beat me to it.
Look, we had this discussion that's before the season even kicked off, and we said, who the fuck are Leinster playing at 10? Because you'd 4, maybe 5 options. But this is his 50th Heineken Cup appearance. It's a lovely moment for the guy, and it's just been ruined by Leinster trolls. What do people have against him? Like, he's a good player. He's not there for the crack. Like, I mean, if it was his brother, maybe I could understand, but you still can't make comments like that. I didn't see them now. I can only imagine what they were. But like, if I was Leinster Rugby, I would have just removed the post. I would, if it was that bad, instead of leaving it up and then people making a big deal out of the whole comments thing being switched off. So maybe it was up to his club, the club he's with, to put up a post about his 50th. Then if Leinster had to switch off comments, I'm sure there'd be more. Like, I don't even know what club is he with. Like,
UCD, is it?
UCD, yeah. So if UCD put up something,
maybe so.
It's gone too far now at this stage. It's gone too far with all this soccer-esque bickering. Yeah. And I think we're all slightly guilty of some of it, but not to the extent.
Not to that extent.
Not the way people go on. No. I don't even know.
I saw someone talking about Cian Prendergast, that they hope that he will break his legs.
Cian or Sam?
No, Cian Prendergast, not Sam.
Cian?
No, Cian Prendergast. Yeah, in a different post altogether. And your man who said that was in our group at one stage. He was swiftly booted. But yeah, I don't know. These are the sort of people you're dealing with online. Online is a free for all. It's the Wild West sometimes.
We've talked about the psychology of this before. It's because people are hiding behind the screen and they feel invincible. Would they like? Exactly. I would not say on the internet what I wouldn't say to someone's face. Seriously.
Yeah, that's quite obvious, Dave. It's absolutely.
Okay. I think people need to keep that in mind. So, stand back a bit.
Okay, Peter Martin, your thoughts on that whole debacle, Leinster having to turn off comments the first time since 2016 because the comments were nasty and all that.
Yeah, I think look, it goes without saying. Look, we've all kind of, I suppose, on here kind of espoused Ross's strengths as well as his weaknesses from a playing perspective. But when it becomes personal and it becomes abusive, it's simply not part of our game. It never has been. It can be part of other sports. Let them belt away if they want to be abusive to players and so on. It's not part of our game. I would go so far as to say that most of those guys who are being that abusive barely know what a rugby ball looks like, and certainly may have never experienced the game from a playing perspective to able to know what it feels like to be part of the rugby family, so to speak.
Yeah.
The other side of it is as well, and I suppose maybe this is something that's coming in. I've seen it, not just, and I suppose we've seen it with what Leinster and Marcus Buchala have done with turning off the post, as well as a little bit of it as well with the Jack Crowley photo in the Ireland jersey and so on and so forth. But I do think that those who work in PR now are ill-equipped, and the methodologies that they use to deal with trolls is outdated.
Yeah.
I do think
Totally
that's
agree.
a
I mean,
massive problem. The
I
PR
don't see why. Sorry, Pete. I agree with you, Pete. But I don't understand why they didn't just remove the comment and block the member.
Yeah.
Like what we do. I don't understand why they just didn't do that.
Well, that's
too much
only
work?
that kind of, it could be too much work. You'd have to ask Marcus Abuka is the only guy
It's 2 clicks of a fucking mouse to remove someone and block them. Remove the comment and block the user.
Giggity.
I don't know.
The problem is if you have a load of replies nested under that comment, then suddenly
They all go as well. They all go as well.
They all go with the first
They all go as well. All right, Danny Brosnan, your thoughts on this? The trolling of Ross Byrne and the comments having to be turned off. Ridiculous stuff altogether.
Oh, how low will some people stoop, Joe, when that sort of thing, Joe, giving personal comments, Joe, to a player or referee or coach. Fair enough, I've criticised them, but kept it professional. But Joe, to get that bad at Joe practically insulting him personally, fucking hell, man. I'd say so. He's a good provincial player, maybe not the best international player, nowhere near it, but he whoever grief he got, he doesn't fucking deserve it, man. Not that personal shit.
Well, I tell you, if he wins you a Heineken Cup this year, everyone's tune will change.
Yeah.
True.
Like just hypothetically through injury or something, you know?
Yeah, no, I know, yeah. Okay, Mike Reedy, your thoughts on all this?
I feel sorry for Ross Byrne. However, I'm going to put my hands up and say I've been guilty of claiming that Ross Byrne is not good enough to be the 10 for Leinster. I'm not going to try and hide and say I never said that.
Yeah, that's okay. That's fair enough. But personal attacks on him and the coaches.
When it gets personal, it's just unacceptable. Like if people are making, I don't know what was said, and I didn't.
No, I don't.
I didn't see the comment or didn't see any of the post or anything. But that's not acceptable. And what was said was actually Sam said about what you said, Peter, about somebody hoped he broke his leg, and it was when
was it Sam? Sorry, I thought it was Keane. Sorry, it was Sam. Okay, geez.
He picked the head of Crowley for the Autumn International for the Australia game, and somebody put that comment up, and it's fucking shameful. That's embarrassing. You should actually be charged, by the way, by the law for something like that. That's serious. That's a serious thing to say. Wish somebody had. But no, I feel sorry for Ross Byrne. It's never been anything personal. The only thing I have felt, and I'll stand by this, is that I don't think he's a good enough 10 to play for Leinster. He's plenty good enough to play for maybe another province, but not Leinster. Leinster should have a better 10 than Ross Byrne. It's as simple as that. Because they have a better team player in every other position. But
Mike, he's a good player, except his style doesn't suit Leinster's style of play. Yeah, that's it. It's a contrasting thing. He need 10 on line, he's too far back.
It might suit them now because they're more defensive, though, Danny.
Yeah,
it might do. Yeah, okay. Hold on. Sorry, gents. Dara's waiting patiently. Dara, your thoughts on this whole situation of personal attacks on players and all this sort of stuff?
To be honest, it's disgraceful. I mean, it started last year with people kind of going, "Oh, the Byrne brothers, the only reason they're involved with Leinster because they're down CityJet." I mean, Ross has played nearly 200 times for Leinster, and he scored nearly 1,200 points for Leinster, and the majority of that was during the time when Johnny Sexton was also there. So, like, I mean, to be understudy to Sexton. Now there was, I couldn't make the match on Saturday, but some of the lads who were there said there was actual boos when he came on.
Are you serious?
Which is just
ridiculous.
Because Sam went off,
or pitch,
he went on, and there was a bit of booing. And
I didn't hear that now.
Yeah, and people accusing of, kind of like costing. Like, there's people going around and saying, "Oh yeah, we would have won this, and we would have won that, and we would have won the other." Yeah, Grant. Same could be said about Sexton. Same could be said about any player. One player doesn't win or lose a game. So
yeah, true.
Lads, we've all been guilty of slagging off Billy Burns, and I know it's a completely different thing.
And Mike Haley.
Yes, you have.
Mike Haley,
very guilty of that. Yeah,
guilty of it.
It's nothing personal.
We're not hiding behind the scoreboard on doing it. I'll do it. I'll do it. It's how I feel. And I'm not doing it for the sake of badness or anything like that. And
all right, gentlemen, sorry, Mike, just a few comments coming in there. Gregor Galway, abuse and personal attacks aren't good for their lifestyle, etc., of the person. Brian Core, didn't Ross play all 7 games in the Champions Cup last year, up to and including the final? How's that not good enough? Yeah, very good point, Brian. Yes. Gregor Galway again. Are these the cooperative people booing Ross, or just fans at the corporate people booing Ross, or just the fans at the game? I was at the game. I didn't hear any booing. I must say, to be honest with you. Okay, Darragh Weston, back to you on this.
We're talking about trolls every week, lads. At this stage,
but look, unfortunately, it's the.
I know we have to, but isn't it absolutely shocking?
It is, but it has to be addressed because every week there's something. We've spoken about trolls before, the keyboard warriors. And also the red cards. But these things have a habit of repeating themselves and changing their form and coming up in some form of other iteration, and so hence it's in the news.
And whatever somebody put up, it was obviously something serious enough for Leinster to take it down.
Absolutely,
yeah.
And I mean, we've had Brent Pope on here before talking about mental health and the elephant in the room and all this. And players at the end of the day, they're humans with their own mental health problems as well. So, and it's easy for people to sit in their Ma's garage and go, oh, he's rubbish, and blah, 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 and just hurl abuse. And once it's on the internet, it's there forever.
Yeah, and 2 players, Darragh, that we all know who spoke out about their struggles with mental health issues was Andrew Porter and Keith Earls. They were quite vocal about it. So
I think Quinlan talked about it as well, didn't he?
Did he? I don't know. I didn't hear that. Anyway, gentlemen, we're just under 10 minutes left. 15 minutes left. Another Leinster topic, just because it came up. Darragh, I'll come to you. Looking at the attendance figures for Leinster's games. Dragons they'd over 18,000. Obviously, these are on the Aviva because of the RDS situation. So Dragons had over 18,000. Munster 82,000. Obviously, that was Croke Park. The Lions, they had nearly 21,000. Claremont nearly just over 34,000. Connacht nearly 34,000. And Bath, they had 40,000. People raised the question: have Leinster outgrown the RDS?
What's the revised capacity going to be of the new RDS?
I wouldn't say much larger than 18,000.
Yeah,
whatever.
To be honest, I don't think so. I think we're talking. So we're talking a Munster derby. That's always a big game, and the Aviva is always available for them when they need that. But if you have the Stormers on a wet Friday night in the middle of November or something, you'd be lucky to fill the RDS half the time. So true. I mean, they could sell 10,000 extra season tickets and rely on the fact that half the people won't show up for the games. But no, to be honest, I don't think so. I think it'll be an interesting transition back from the Aviva to the RDS, because obviously the Aviva, they can make a lot more tickets available if they need to. They can open upper tiers. Most of the games, it's only the lower tier that's open. But even that, there's more in the RDS. But obviously, if they have a big game, they can open the upper tiers. And then, for the Heineken games, they can go to Croker. Week in, week out, URC games, I don't think we need something as big as the Aviva. I think redeveloped redeveloped RDS is fine.
Okay. All right. The second Leinster fan on the panel, Peter Martin, I'll ask you. The attendance figures there, albeit the Munster one skews everything, but they're above what the capacity is, a couple of thousands, 3,000 or 4,000 above what the RDS can hold. So what do you think, have they outgrown the RDS, or would you agree with what Darragh said?
Well, what I would say to that is I take on board Darragh's point that, based on the average of numbers, over that period of time, you'd say, well, maybe not. But it'll be interesting to see when Leinster release their figures before they get back into the RDS, and like money talks at the end of the day. And I don't think you can never say never or ever say ever. So the question I'd be asking is that the work that they're doing in the RDS, if it's a case that financially they realize, ultimately bums and seats basically brings in more, and there's enough there. Is there room with the development work they're doing on the RDS at the moment? Can they expand further again? That's my question, because like you can't say, okay, look, we're going to stick on as what's an extra. It's only an extra 2,000 seats or something like that. It's not a huge number. I do know that.
Yeah.
But is there a plan? Is there a plan there, or is the facility there, the capacity there, the space, or whatever, to say, do you know what? Maybe phase one is to get, when we get back into the RDS, that we're going to have capacity to 18,000, and depending on if the numbers are crunched and so on and so forth, there is room and space and whatever to go to 25,000, we'll say, or 23,000, something, and go again, shall we say, with expansion.
I know,
because you don't want to be in a situation where, shit, we're at capacity here, lads, and it'll come to a point where you don't want to come into a situation financially in a few years' time where it's actually costing Leinster money because it's every week's a sellout, and there's people crying out, and they're actually losing money. So that's the only question I would ask.
One thing I would say on that, Pete, and I'll make this very quick, is that because the RDS own the RDS, there's an element of cost sharing in the redevelopment, because obviously it'll suit them for the horse show and stuff like that. So I don't know if Leinster have the option to add on extra and go above and beyond the current redevelopment, because ultimately it's not their ground. It's the RDS ground. They only have a lease on it. So, but I mean, the one thing is we've seen, it hasn't done other provinces any favors getting saddled with debt for massive stadium redevelopments or new stadium builds. So, are Leinster being canny in a way in, doing the RDS? And look, if there's always more demand for tickets, it's a good place to be than having a stadium you can't sell out.
True. Okay. Dave Sheedy, go on.
No, just wondering, why didn't they go for Donnybrook then? They own Donnybrook, don't they?
There's no room. There's absolutely no room.
You wouldn't.
Yeah. Absolutely no room.
You'd fit the corporates into Donnybrook, and that's it.
Because they take out is it the Wanderers training pitch, and then there's tennis courts and stuff like that as well.
There's simply no room. There's absolutely
no room. I know you've got Wesley at one end, and is it?
Yeah, Bective
on the other end.
Yeah,
and also the guards didn't want them doing anything serious there because the traffic chaos it causes on a major artery. And
that's true. That's true. Dave Sheedy, your thoughts on this? If you were to equate it with what Munster did with Thomond, what Leinster are doing with the RDS, and the attendance figures that they've had would suggest that there is more demand than 18,000, 19,000 people, 20,000 people that the RDS can fit.
Yeah, like what Pete says, that probably there should be a look at the architect and the contract and maybe have another phase to increase capacity, because like we've 26 in Thomond. And because we were on the up, and now we're on the way down. We're not selling out, and that's going to happen to Leinster. It will. I mean, the glory days don't last forever. So I think maybe 20,000 is a good number for Leinster. And then, as Darragh alluded to, you can always fuck off over to Lansdowne Road for the bigger games. 18. What was the original capacity? Was it 15, 16?
I think it was 18, wasn't it? Was it 18? I don't know.
They're increasing it to 18.
They're increasing it to 18. Sorry. Yeah.
No, I remember going to a couple of derby matches there in the Celtic League in the Pro 12 at the time, and it wasn't a sellout for the Munster games. Now, not every, there was obviously a good few of them were, but I remember there was a couple that weren't, because like what we said, a windy, wet Friday night, sitting out, the umbrella, nothing covering you, it's hard to sell those games, man.
True. Yeah,
people coming back to work.
I know, Mike Reedy, your thoughts on this? The capacity issues. Are Leinster doing the right thing?
I've never been in the RDS for a rugby game, but I was there at a concert a few years ago, I believe a Mac concert. As far as I'm aware, there's only a stand on one side of the ground, is there? There's only one.
No, two sides. The stand on both sides.
One, the other side,
I have to say, I think they should increase it to a bigger capacity. I really do. Leinster are a big club right now, and you have to go with what you have right now. And for me, to have the availability of filling those seats is better than not having and not being able to fill them, rather than not have the capacity to do that. It's a lot easier to fill a stadium when you have seats than not. You know, I think they should have gone slightly bigger. If there was, maybe there's no possibility, maybe there's no scope to do it any bigger than they are, and you have to take the cost into effect. There's all sorts of factors, and Dublin is an expensive place anyway, so everything you do in Dublin is going to be more expensive. So
it's a very congested area as well.
Yeah. Just a couple of comments, Danny, before I come to you for the last voice on this. Excuse me, Mike Sheedy talking about the keyboard warriors. These people putting bullshit comments about players. They don't know anything about rugby, and players don't care about these muppets. When you read enough of them, though, Mike, they kind of get into your head. Neil McKeown, hi Neil. The new RDS capacity will be 21,500. Okay, thanks,
There
Neil.
we are. That shuts us all up.
Yeah. Neil, fair play to you. Danny Broughton, your thoughts on the capacity issues with the RDS and this whole, have they sold themselves short on that, or what do you think?
Your concern is the share kind of partnership and stuff like that. Maybe 21,500 is right, because they've made a good point about Joe Munster increase their capacity, and now we can't seem to sell out all games.
Yeah, but that could change.
Yeah, I know that could change, but Joe, fair enough to do right. To do great right now, Mike. But down the line, there's going to be different phases. It's going to be a lot harder to sell groups and stuff like that. We've seen it with Ulster as well. Nice big stadium. It's about 18,500, I think it is. They don't get sell out every week either. You might get sell for the big games. That's fine. But you need continual success to be constantly selling out games and looking to increase the capacity of stadiums. So to be honest with you, I think the 21,500 might be right for the next couple of seasons and see where Leinster go from there then. Because if you're going to start on the downward spiral, no point in expanding.
Yeah. Okay, fair enough. Right, gentlemen,
Can I make
the last...
one quick point? When that motorway from Cork to Limerick is finally built, I think you might actually see Thomond getting sold out then. Because it takes an eternity for people from Cork to get up. It really does. From West Cork.
Okay. All right. Now, the last point I'll make before we go on, the last point we want to talk about before we go on to next weekend's games, we leave the quarterfinals till another time. The IRFU, Dave Sheedy, the IRFU shot themselves in the foot there this week with a PR disaster. They had a promo pic up on the IRFU Facebook page. And there was a comment underneath it from obviously a Munster fan giving out that Jack Crowley was underused, or it seemed, because he wasn't in the picture, but he was underused in the IRFU promo pics that they put up and all this sort of stuff. The IRFU made the mistake of replying to the comment, which was a big no. You just don't do that. IRFU lads, Jesus, what were you thinking? Dave, your thoughts on that absolute fiasco that just...
There's no thoughts, man. Exactly what you said. You just don't reply. And like, whoever that guy is that put up the comment, I'd love to meet him and punch him in the face, because he's just giving Leinster supporters more ammunition against us. Like, you know what I mean? Shut the fuck. Why is he asking about Crowley as well? Why isn't he asking for Tyke Byrne, our captain? Like, you know?
I've no idea. I know, yeah.
It's ridiculous.
Because he's a Leinster man, that's why.
Yeah,
Peter Martin, what do you think of this? The IRFU PR?
Well, as I said a few moments ago, when it came to the whole thing about Ross Byrne, there's a massive issue with those who are supposedly professional PR people dealing with these social media issues. They're whatever they were taught in school, in college, all these, it's a load of horseshit. It's an absolute fucking waste, because it flies in the face. Like, just going off on a tangent. The world as we know it has changed irrevocably. Like, you look outside the front door, you look at the sky, you'll say it's blue, and you'll get some gobshite who'll say, no, it's not blue, it's aqua. Aqua's blue. But no, it's aqua. You know, someone to start a row for the sake of starting a row, right? And it's the same. This is the whole thing. It's like, when if you basically argue with an idiot, you become one of them. So, the best thing to do is shut the fuck up. The PR people, do you know what happens is that they're paid all this money, and somebody walks in a suit and tie into their office and say, did you see that comment? What are you going to do about it? and there's obviously an implied pressure. They have to do something. There has to be a response. No, there doesn't.
If any one of us were in that IRFU PR office and we saw that comment, we would have all ignored it. We said, "Don't fucking go near it. Don't go near it."
I would have argued and I would have won.
I'll tell you what
I would have argued and won. No, but come here. Didn't they have a job advertisement the day after?
They did, yeah, for the PR department, yeah. Fucking Jesus Christ. Danny Brosnan, your thoughts on the IRFU shooting themselves in the foot?
Oh, lad, to be honest with you, when you're doing photos like that, you select maybe about 10 photos or whatever. Wherever 10 get posted. Sometimes the player's included, sometimes the player isn't. Big fucking deal. Lad that posted the comment that they replied to, fucking he probably was having a shit day and just probably started to pick a fight for no apparent reason. But whoever replied to the comment behind the Irish Twitter page, nah, fucking leave it. You could show their, as Peter Martin was saying, they can show their lack of experience in real world applications. So,
yeah.
Most photos you go on, you see some comments, oh, why isn't this player there? Why isn't that player there? Why is there more players from this province? Why are you showing less players from that province? You just fucking say, scroll on. Whoever was chosen and posted, that's it. There you go.
Yeah.
Deal with it.
Carry on. Yeah, absolutely. No, you're right too, Danny. Mike Grady, your thoughts on this whole mess?
You know something? I'll be honest. It nauseates me. See this bickering that goes on between Leinster and Munster supporters. It fucking nauseates me, because I think shut the fuck up, the lot of yous. I mean, you know, the team is getting picked by the management to represent Ireland in the Six Nations, and none of us we're probably more qualified than some of the fucking clowns that are making stupid comments. But however, we're not in the position. I think if you have kind of a half brain in your shoulder, you're going to know that the guys that are picking players are watching them train every week, and they're going to think we know the best fucking team to put out. And by and large, that's generally what. And some people get this bee in their bonnet about a fucking photograph. Get a grip, for God's sake.
Yeah, I know. Okay, Darragh Weston, before we come on to next weekend's games, which we'll end on, your thoughts on the IRFU PR.
I have nothing but respect for the IRFU, and I don't. To be fair, I don't think they shot themselves in the foot as big as we're making out.
He's getting paid. He's getting paid.
You had a load of slagging.
He's got 3 tickets in the back pocket.
They stood up to somebody and said, listen, we can't put Crowley in every bloody photo we have. Like, you know, he was on the photos last week. The photos from the training camp in Portugal, Crowley was the only one with a ball in his hand. That's discriminatory to the rest of the lads. You know, there's always going to be some Egypt. I mean, if you
should the IRFU have replied to the comment?
I think so. I think so. I mean, look at one of the most popular social media accounts around, Ryanair. Ryanair get into massive spats with customers.
Different ball game. That's their MO. That's their MO.
But the thing is, I think it's constantly evolving. If you delete one comment, that person will put the tinfoil hat on, they'll tell their friends, you'll have 50 comments asking the same question. Why are you deleting any comments about why Crowley wasn't featured? Is it some conspiracy? Oh, because you're all based in Leinster. Blah, blah, blah. So I think, look, it was fair. They just went back and said, look, we can't feature everyone. You know, this is not one of these things where you get a medal for participation. It's rugby. Winners get medals, runners up get medals, but that's it. Other people don't get medals. And, you know, they can't put everybody in it. So I think, you know, they have to try and respond sometimes and say, look, this is why. There's no great, you know, like Illuminati master plan or anything like that. Just this is why it is.
I know, but it was interesting. It was interesting, as Dave said. It was interesting that there was a job announcement advertising for a position in their PR department.
Yeah, there must be another Easterby. No, I'd say there's another Easterby brother we don't know about, because they have all the jobs sewn up in the IRFU in Leinster. So he'll go in as head of PR and social media.
All right. Okay, gentlemen, we'll end on we'll end on this. This is our last one because, of course, we're over time. Dave Sheedy, the URC returns this weekend, and all 4 provinces are in action. So we're doing our usual win, lose, or draw first up, we have Leinster entertaining Stormers. Taking into account Leinster have never beaten the Stormers.
Really?
Lost twice, drawn once.
Even at home?
There you go. Yeah, there you go.
Jeez, thank God that's not being played in Croke Park.
Yeah, no.
I hope and pray that Leinster win that game. I really do.
Now, I'd imagine it'll be a second, third string Leinster team.
Don't care. Don't care.
I'm with
Farage down here on this one. Anything but Saffas.
Okay, all right. Dragons are entertaining Munster. Your team.
Yeah, I hope Munster will come away with that.
All right. Okay, Glasgow are entertaining Connacht.
I thought that was cancelled.
No.
Oh, sorry, that's on Sunday. It's on Sunday. It's on the weekend.
Yeah,
it's on Sunday.
okay, it's moved. Glasgow have a lot of international. Connacht. I know.
Right, and
stupid going for all the Irish.
Ulster are entertaining Zebra, whatever way you want to call it.
Ulster. So a sweeping 4-province win for me.
Okay, Peter Martin. Leinster are playing Stormers.
Well, Dan Sheehan and James Lowe are supposed to come back, so
yeah.
Stormers weren't great now the other week in the champion. They were beaten out of sight in the Champions Cup. I'd fancy Leinster, yeah, do the job.
All right, Dragons entertaining Munster.
Yeah, I think Munster will beat Dragons away.
Okay, and Glasgow are entertaining Connacht.
Thoughts and prayers. I don't think Connacht. Connacht.
Oh, you think Connacht will win that?
No, I don't think they will.
Sorry. You think Glasgow? Okay, all right.
Yeah.
Okay, Ulster entertaining Zebra.
No, I think Ulster will get are on the right base. I think they're playing some good stuff. Yeah, I think they'll be Zebra easy enough.
Okay, Danny Brosnan, Leinster at home to the Stormers.
Stormers.
Okay. Dragons entertaining Munster.
Munster.
Okay. Glasgow entertaining Connacht.
Connacht.
Okay, and finally Ulster at home to Zebra.
Ulster.
Okay, thank you. Mike Brady.
Doing less thinking these days, Danny.
Yeah, he is actually. He's less cerebral. He's less cerebral. Mike Reedy, Leinster entertaining Stormers.
Well, the fact that Leinster have 23 players away with the Irish team is going to have to take its some kind of toll on the team. So
yeah, it'll be a second, third string team.
I know. I think it's going to be a tough game for Leinster. By the way, it's a hard one to call, but I hope Leinster come out on top. But it's going to be a tough.
Dragons entertaining Munster.
I think Munster have a good chance in that. Yeah. I'm going to go with Munster.
Okay. So. Glasgow entertaining Connacht.
Well, Glasgow have, I think, like 15 players away with Scotland. So I think Connacht have a great chance going to Scotland and getting a result.
Connacht are missing a few key players as well now, don't forget.
Well, they are.
Ulster against, and finally Ulster at home to Zebra.
Ulster win that.
Zebra.
Yeah, I think Ulster win.
Okay, and last voice on all this, and we'll end the show on this. Dara Weston, Leinster are at home to Stormers.
So I won't be at the game. I'll be at my surprise birthday party down the pub. I think Leinster will do it because even though you're saying third string, we'll still have Geordie and RG Snyman or Snayman, whatever you want to call them.
Yeah.
Judas.
So I'd say, I think there's good value in those two lads alone. So I think Leinster will do it.
Oh, you want to Slimani? Okay. And he's away with fucking France, isn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah, but sure, look.
He is.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, we've covered it. Dragons entertaining Munster, Dara.
I think Munster will do all the entertaining in that match.
Okay, Glasgow are hosting Connacht.
I think Connacht, it's their best chance because as the lads have said, there's a lot of Scottish internationals away, so yeah.
But Connacht are missing Aki, they're missing Ben Murphy, they're missing Cathal Ford, they're missing Prendergast.
Yeah, but they still have a good
squad.
They're missing a lot. Yeah.
Gillen played as well, isn't he?
Blade as well, yeah.
Feel them as well.
And finally, Dara, and we'll end the show on this: Ulster or entertaining zebra?
Ulster, I would say. Home advantage.
All right.
Yeah,
Okay,
so.
Gentlemen, that is all we have time for this evening. 1 hour, 15 minutes. My God, time flies when you're having fun. All that's left for me to do is thank all of you for watching and all your comments and opinions. Thank you very much. And my thanks to Dave Sheedy, Peter Martin, Danny Bronson, Mike Reedy, and Dara Weston. Gentlemen, enjoy the rest of your evening, and we will do it all again next week.
Yeah.
Cheers.
That's
And good night.
Danny Crossman, Special Junior Minister for Sport, isn't it now officially?
That's it.